Greetings and welcome to week 5 of Justice 110, Intro to Law Enforcement. We're a third of the way through the class. I'm hoping it's meeting your expectations and it's meeting your requirements and it's what you wanted and it's doing well. If it is, I'd be nice to know. I'd like to hear it. If it's not, I'd like to hear it. Tell me what's wrong. Besides the fact that some of you don't like these old TV episodes. Anyway, week 5. Problems and Solutions of Modern Policing is the chapter topic. We're going to kind of continue on with the discussion we started last week about the roles of police, expectations of police. I've asked you a fairly blatant question for the discussion board, and that's, does patrolling make sense? And what I'm looking for is just not a shoot off the hip answer. I'm not looking for a, well, duh, yeah. I mean, everybody knows that. We catch bad guys that way. When you read the chapter, you're going to read about some very historic, important, often repeated, often discussed tests on that question, studies and research on that questions. And I'm kind of looking at you telling me about that research and you tell me about what's going on there. I mean, I want you to, tell me what the research said and then I guess agree with it or disagree with it, but be able to discuss that. I'm not just asking, I don't want you all to line up and say, yes, patrolling makes a lot of sense. Otherwise you couldn't find lost dogs and things like that. Look at this research. We're going to talk a lot in other classes and in the future about expectations and methodology and how do we know what we do works. At night when we're on patrol and we park outside the bar and wait for drunks to come out, is that really an efficient and effective use of our time? Is that a good way to do whatever it is we're doing, or should we be doing something else? And this patrolling thing is just that kind of thing. How do we know what we know? And I want you to be able to discuss that study with me and tell me if the study's right or wrong or why. I mean, it's okay. Once you can discuss it, tell me why you think what you think. So, we're also going to, there's another picket fences episode this week. I think my favorite one out of the whole series. There's 4 years worth of episodes, and this is the one that's always haunted me the most. Poor Sheriff Brock, pretty much the police chief of a small town in Rome, Wisconsin. I've spent most of my career police chiefing in various small towns, and I've had these same questions. I've come home at night and I've thought, gee whiz. So Brock has some real questions in this episode. Like all episodes, there's background stories, okay? Nobody write about the little people. I don't care. Nobody write about the bullies at school. I don't care. What I care about is Sheriff Brock and his reflections and the turmoil he's going through. What did he think it was going to be like being a cop? Why did he do it? Why did he become sheriff? What was he looking for? Has he accomplished that? Can he accomplish it? Maybe he can't accomplish it. There's another side story kind of partaking concerning the mayor. And you can certainly write about the mayor. As I wrote in one of the, somewhere I wrote to somebody or I put it in the announcements or something. My master's degree, I wrote, my master's thesis was on the tenure and turnover of small town police chiefs. Up until my study, I'm proud to say. Nobody ever looked at small towns and seen just how long chiefs last in that position and why they last or why they don't last. The reason they don't last is the same reason big city police chiefs don't last. It's politics. So as you watch this episode, you're going to see the mayor. I'm here to tell you, I have worked for this guy. I have worked for many mayors exactly like this guy. So look at the mayor. Go ahead and talk about him some if you want, especially how it affects Brock. Is the mayor right? Is the mayor wrong? Go ahead and discuss the mayor some. I think that would be interesting. So continuing on with the roles and expectations, we kind of ended last week on kind of a neat little subsection. One of our classmates, thank you, Shelby, wrote about, gee whiz, when cops are off duty and they're having dinner, they should be allowed to be off duty and having dinner. And I think we started to discuss that, well, not part of the job, never happens. I can't take a shower without the phone with me. You are on 24/7, and you get nobody cares what you're doing. It's interesting. I was going to go play golf tomorrow with the mayor. It's the last couple of days before the golf course closes, and we were going to go golf before the grass freezes and we can't get up there. And he called me and says, "You want to go up tomorrow?" And I said, "Absolutely." And so we were going to leave in the morning, and then I had to call him back because I had to think, well, gee whiz, there's only two of us on duty in the entire town at the moment. There's only two of us in town right now. So if I go to Whitehorse, which is 2.5 hours away, the chief is here totally all by himself. Excuse me. Chief is here totally all by himself, and if something should go down, probably it won't, but we're a one-man town, and that's it. So I kind of was hesitant to leave. Ray was kind of hesitant about me leaving. And then it turns out that there's a real good possibility he might have to leave town tomorrow afternoon, in which case it will be a one-horse town. I'll be the only one here. So it's very, very easy in a lot of these outposts. You look at a lot of these little towns and villages, trooper outposts. You look at a lot of places, there's only one, two guys servicing the entire town. And you're going to get called out. It's not a 9 to 5 job. So we can continue and talk about that, how that affects things. I gave you a news magazine article to read. I hope you all saw it. If you're all not looking at all the questions in the discussion board, you need to be. You need to be looking in a lot of places. I'm noticing that when I look and see how many people watch the videos, there's 3 of you actually watching them. I'm thinking there's some of you that never looked at the Get Started page or the course contents file or the syllabus, because you'll write me a paper in a week, and it's a very good paper. Some of you write excellent papers, but it has nothing to do with the assignment, because some of these weeks I'll give you an assignment and say, write me a memo about eating peanut butter on duty. And instead you'll write about something else because you didn't see it. So make sure, come on guys, that you really get into this and you really look. The discussion boards are us in the classroom. That's, we raise our hands and we say da da da, and we get off on tangents, and there's a lot of things to experience out there. So make sure you're reading everybody's entry. Anyway, at one of those I put a link into a magazine article that I wrote a few years back about getting called out and the effects on the body. Again, talking about, we were just talking in the addictions class, how things affect the body. Well, there's been considerable studies that if you are home asleep, phone rings, you get called out. I mean, if it's a little tiny place and you get called out because you're the only one out there, or it's a great big department. It's Juneau or Anchorage or Fairbanks, and you're on the SWAT team, you're on the special ops team, and you're home sleeping and you get called out in the middle of the night because they need your skills. They've done many studies. Read this article. I hope you can find the link to the magazine and read the article. Studies say that you are the equivalent of a .10 drunk for the first 10 minutes after getting woke up. I can remember. I mean, it's scary. Most of the times I do really well. I'm pretty good on call-ups. I think I've done them long enough. But there's been a couple of times where I've caught myself, where my wife will look at me and say, what's going on? And I'll get called out, and I'll be standing in the middle of the room. Excuse me. I'll be standing in the middle of the bedroom holding a sock and just kind of staring at it and wondering, why am I standing here holding this sock? It takes a lot. And after about 10 minutes, you get over it and you're okay. But you just got to know there's probably times that when the phone rings, you don't want to be dressed and out in that car and driving, in the first 5 minutes, because you're going to hit something. So anyway, look around, make sure you find all the links, make sure you find all the discussions. There's a lot going on, and if all you do is sign in, kick in a paper, add a couple little discussion things and leaves, you're not getting enough out of class. And we want you to get a lot out of class. So, happy week 5.